Hello and welcome back to JKerniferAstrology. Today we're here to talk about the new moon happening 21 degrees 58 minutes of the constellation Virgo, aka the Virgo New Moon, on September 14th or 15th, depending on where in the world you're tuning in from. This video will explore the Virgo New Moon, Virgo energy, specifically Virgo Moon energy, themes for this upcoming new moon, before diving into the deep dive, where I'll apply my 12th house, aka past life Virgo mastery, with that acute eye for detail, to cover some interesting details I've noticed about this Virgo new moon, the degrees, specific degrees and their correlating archetypes or Sabian symbols, and aspects for the major planets involved. You are welcome to use the gear icon in the settings below to speed me up or slow me down to whatever speed suits you best, and to jump around the video using the timestamps below as needed. As a reminder, these are bi-weekly, detailed, in-depth astrological general information videos. They are not personal predictions or readings. If you're interested in a personal chart reading, you can email me at JKerniferAstrology@gmail.com. I will open myself up to taking new clients sometime around mid-October, so stay tuned. And as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the YouTube algorithm know that you're enjoying the content and pushes that content out to other viewers. Thank you on our journey to 500 subscribers. At the time of recording this video, we're just about 80 subscribers away from that target, so thank you in helping us get there. I started this channel to grow a community of cosmic collaborators where we can talk about the astrology transits in these videos and upcoming live videos, and specifically in the comments section below, which provided me with a lot of personal guidance back before I had a YouTube channel. In this video, you are invited to comment, to share your natal placements, how you feel the transits are affecting those natal placements, and any astrology you've learned along the way, so that we can learn together. Without further ado, let's dive in. This new moon is happening 21 degrees 58 minutes of the constellation Virgo. It's exacting Thursday, September 14th at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Adjust for your time zone and location accordingly. New moons are an alignment of the sun, which represents our soul's core expression and mission, the energy we were put on this earth to learn, and the moon, our emotional, comfort-seeking, more private nature. When the soul and the true self, the moon, align, this offers a perfect opportunity to plant seeds of intention, which is what new moons are all about. However, this new moon is slightly different because it's happening in the mutable earth sign Virgo. Virgo is all about discerning the details and making refinements. So instead of planting brand new seeds of intention, we're making minor adjustments and refinements to existing schedules, routines, diets, exercise programs, etc., especially as they relate to Virgo themes: work-life balance, greater overall health and well-being, efficiency, organization, perhaps even budgeting. New moons are all about planting seeds of intention for what you'd like to see manifest in the next 6 months under the corresponding full moon. The corresponding full moon for this Virgo new moon will happen 5 degrees Virgo on February 24th, 2024. So mark your calendars. You may see that the tweaks you're making under this transit this week, particularly from September 13th until September 15th, 16th, you may see the things that you're tweaking come into fruition in the next 6 months. Virgo energy incarnated to research, analyze, strategize, plan, create routines, fix, improve, organize, and make more efficient. So this new moon in Virgo is all about planting seeds of intention around those themes. The depositor for this Virgo new moon is Mercury, which rules our logical, conscious, and aware minds, and rules over things like our unique learning styles and communication styles. Mercury is Hermes, the messenger, always traveling within one constellation of the sun. Hermes was the messenger responsible for delivering messages between Olympus and Hades in the underworld, Pluto. Mercury rules the signs of Gemini, which is all about information gathering and dissemination, and Virgo, which is all about information or data, organization, analysis, and structure. Mercury is particularly strong in the sign of Virgo, where it's said to be exalted, especially as it culminates its retrograde through its sign of exaltation under this new moon in Virgo transit. Virgo is a mutable or changeable, adaptable earth sign. And earth signs are all about what's material and tangible. So Virgo is a sign that's particularly good at adapting to what needs to be done on a practical level. Virgo energy is all about the daily habits that make up who we are. You are what you repeatedly do. Your habits. Now, as I go into Virgo energy, I'll discuss both Virgo energy in its pros and Virgo energy when it can be imbalanced, when it's in its shadow. Virgo energy is known for its work and service orientation, being health conscious. It's analytical, practical, grounded, sensible, down to earth, shy, modest, and humble nature. Its dedication, its ability to discern with its finely tuned eye for detail, its intellectual analytical nature, being particular or picky, and through its love language, which is acts of service. A Virgo may not express to you, I love you, with outward displays of verbal affection, but they will show you through cooking you a meal from the soul, or doing the dishes after they know you've had a long day at work. Shadow Virgo. So you can consider these red flags for anyone with Virgo energy that's become imbalanced. Overly rigid when it comes to diet or routine. This can be expressed through eating disorders, orthorexia, patterns of workaholism that lead to burnout. That's a big one for both Virgo and Capricorn. Being nitpicky or overly critical, and this can be really to the self, but when it's really imbalanced, it can also be projected onto its loved ones. Perfectionistic, self-sacrificing, tendency to neglect one's own needs. It can experience analysis paralysis. It needs to watch out for a martyr or fix-it complex. Look out for those who might take advantage of your overly giving or generous nature. It can be overly detail-oriented at the expense of the big picture, getting tangled in the weeds. May struggle with OCD or obsessive-compulsive disorder patterns, overthinking, ruminating thoughts, and anxiety. They can be victims of their own routines, and they can be complacent or underachieving when they're overly married to a plan or routine instead of striving for more or remembering to adjust for change, as change is the only constant. They may experience blocks to creativity and spirituality due to an over-reliance of this logical and analytical nature. We need to balance head and heart here. Anyone who has imbalanced Virgo, you can look to the opposite sign, Pisces, to help balance you out, and vice versa. And especially look out for, whether you have Virgo or Pisces energy, stress manifesting physically in the body through illness. Virgo rules the epidermis, the skin, and the digestive system, so be on alert for flare-ups with the digestive system and the skin, especially in response to ingredients. I just shared two excerpts for you. One is from The Chiron Effect, Healing Our Core Wounds Through Astrology, Empathy, and Self-Forgiveness by Lisa Tahir. She's a licensed social worker and an astrologist, and this book is phenomenal if you haven't read it already. I'm looking at Chiron in Virgo, specifically on page 133. Chiron in Virgo can help you see, it's the deepest soul wound, Chiron, so it can help you see the shadow side of that sign by looking at Chiron through each of the signs. It's important to know your limitations. It's okay to have them, because by setting limits, you transcend maladaptive coping mechanisms that you may be suffering from, including overly restrictive dieting, addictive habits, or workaholic tendencies. Deep down, you have known that routines that leave you depleted from overworking are neither healthy nor sustainable. And you understand that there is a deeper issue at hand. You don't like to disappoint your loved ones, and you fear that if you take the time to care for yourself, you might let them down. So you keep pushing through, ever hoping to catch a break. What I want to let into your consciousness right now is that your loved ones want you to be happy, healthy, and refreshed every day. They don't want you to be depleted and empty. When you are scraping the bottom of the barrel, you, like anyone else in this predicament, are raw, edgy, easily agitated, and exhausted. I would also say those are red flags for imbalanced Virgo. I know that you intellectually understand the importance of self-care. However, you overlook and neglect your own needs, violating your inner knowing of what it means to care for yourself. Conversely, you will voluntarily make yourself available to help others. Burnout is on the horizon if you are not there already. If there is an imbalance between output and input, that disparity over time will be damaging to every system of your body. The deeper issue is centered on the unfortunate belief that if you give and give and give, then you will feel good about yourself and, in turn, be loved and valued by others. Let me interrupt by saying that this is not how love works. Love is unconditional. That means without condition. Doesn't matter how much you give, you shouldn't have to earn it. It should be given freely. You may believe that doing for others is how you referee self-criticism and judgment, and thereby compensate for feelings of low self-esteem. Defense mechanisms such as sublimation and compensation work temporarily, giving you a false sense of happiness and security. You are able to heal your psychoastrology and come back into alignment by learning to set boundaries and self-validate. This is accomplished by restructuring your routines to include adequate rest, nourishment, healthy exercise, fun, joy, and pleasure. Enjoy your productivity, which can include meaningful ways to be of service that energize you instead of depleting you. Excerpt I'm reading is from Elizabeth Spring, South Node Astrology, Uncovering Your Soul's Karmic Inheritance. You'll recall from previous videos that the South Node is very similar to a moon sign. It shows past life mastery, early life mastery, if that resonates more for your beliefs, and where the ego goes when it's triggered because it's comfortable there. Now, once you've healed and shed various layers of the ego, you can tap into the gifts of your South Node. So I'll read for you an excerpt about Virgo South Node, which is really similar to Virgo Moon. In a former life, or in some ways in this life, there may be a tendency to still want to continue to do things just right. And this perfectionism is a harsh standard to live up to. In attempting to be perfect, you inevitably fail, and thereby internalize a feeling of inadequacy or shame. And shame has a tendency to begow more shame. We call this the shame boomerang. This could also have come from the results of living under the ego-shattering impact of discipleship, under an exacting master, guru, or person who had power over you. This can even point to abuse of a sexual nature. We won't get into that any deeper. You may have had competitive siblings or demanding parents, or you may have been under the strict eye of someone older and more controlling, or even a cultural system such as Puritanism or Nazism that disempowered you in setting strict standards of behavior. Let me know if this relates. If you're a Virgo moon, you have your South Node in Virgo. If you took anything away from this excerpt, I would be really interested to find out. As a person with Virgo ruling their 12th house and with their Ceres, the asteroid of nurturing, in Virgo, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And I can tell you that perfectionism isn't attainable because it doesn't exist. There's an adage I learned in college when studying to be a teacher. I was studying educational psychology, which is essentially how to manipulate human behavior to get people to do what you want them to do in the classroom or in a management setting, and how to eliminate unwanted behaviors. Essentially, we were taught to ignore unwanted behavior and to feed behavior you'd like to see repeated through attention, praise, etc. The adage goes, practice makes permanent, not perfect. We are what we repeatedly do. Similarly, in my personal training course, we learned about something called the law of facilitation. When an impulse passes through a given set of neurons, it will tend to do so again with greater ease and efficiency. This speaks to the practice makes permanent idea. It takes approximately 300 to 500 repetitions of a movement to create a motor habit, while it takes 3,000 repetitions to unlearn a motor habit you've learned incorrectly. Practice makes permanent. Let's talk about this Virgo moon. Now, I've had the opportunity to know a few Virgo moons very closely, and I love the energy. It's a tough energy to be born with, and speaking as a Gemini moon, I know all about tough energy and tough placements. Two of my karmics were Virgo moon men, both very beautiful. And several of my closest friends in college, they all ended up being Virgo moons as well. And I think Libras are mirrors, right? We're all mirrors, but especially Libra. And as a Libra sun, rising, Mercury, and Venus, I've got a stellium in Libra. It's my ascendant. I'm very Libra. I attract, and I believe we all do, attract energies that we're meant to become aware of in ourselves. So attracting all of these Virgo moons, which would be in a square to my natal moon and very challenging, helping me find balance in healing my past life Virgo energy, but also for those that I was attracting, these Virgo moons, I innately understood them. Having that Virgo being my energy of a past life, something that I mastered very early in this life, I intuitively understand what it's like to have a very critical parent voice, potentially a tough childhood like I had, where you had a very critical, demanding parent, and that how it can affect to not feeling enough, and how to heal that inner voice to be able to quiet that and say, no, I'm going to accomplish this anyway, even if so-and-so doesn't believe in me, or so-and-so is invalidating me, or so-and-so is being really critical and negative. The Virgo moon. Since the natal moon placement represents who we truly are, one's emotional comfort-seeking nature, the most private parts of self, the moon placement indicates who you already are, while the sun indicates the energy you're learning. Virgo moons have an innate need to nurture the self and others through acts of service, through the work that they do. They have an innate need to find comfort in practicality, structure, detail, and organization. It feels far more peaceful and serene in an organized, minimalist space. Especially, you'll notice the bedroom and the workplace. If you're a Virgo moon, which will all feel under this transit, especially from September 13th until late September 15th, clutter likely bothers you, and you may feel particularly uncomfortable in disorganized, chaotic environments. Your life thrives under well-established systems and routines, both professionally and personally. So this is a perfect opportunity, this Virgo new moon, to refine the details of your existing systems and routines to optimize your well-being, your stress management, your work-life balance, and your health. Virgo moons are humble. They're perfectly happy being behind the scenes, where you're likely to find them strategizing, formulating plans, creating routines, and to identify one, they're usually very well groomed. They may take multiple showers in a day, and they'll be wearing neutral or earth tones. Since Virgo rules the digestive system and the epidermis or skin, and it has ties to the nervous system, which is ruled by Uranus, the highest evolution of Mercury, watch for food additives, synthetics, and environmental pollutants, as you may be particularly sensitive to them. You may notice impurities much more acutely than your average person, especially if you have personal placements in Virgo or Pisces along this axis of opposition of health and healing. Since Virgo is the Virgin, representing purity, there's a strong emphasis on purity with strong Virgo placements. People with strong Virgo energy may be more drawn to sobriety, celibacy, and a whole foods or minimally processed diet, which consists of good, natural food from the earth and regular exercise. People with strong Virgo energy, especially Virgo moons, have a natural interest and innate abilities in healing, health, and nutrition, especially holistic, natural, or herbal earth-based methodologies. The moon sign often correlates with what we do for work. So you may find Virgo moons highly involved in research, data analytics, or data management, journalism, writing, especially editing, healthcare, engineering, professional organizing, or in behind-the-scenes management. Any industry or role where a Virgo can apply effective planning and organizing skills and their mental/analytical strengths in a way that serves and benefits others. Remember how we said that Virgo is a mutable or changeable, adaptable earth sign pertaining to the physical, tangible, material, 3D things? Well, mutable signs, mutable energies have an innate need for variety and change. With Virgo moon, the devil is in the details. There is an innate need to improve or refine, combining practicality and an ability to adapt on the fly to what needs to be done with their analytical, logical qualities necessary to see any specific goal into tangible results. How to work with the energy. The moon moves very fast, traveling through each constellation in 2.5 days. So from September 13th until late September 15th, we'll all feel what it's like to be a Virgo moon, focused on discerning between what's useful versus what's not useful, between what's right and wrong. Themes for this new moon: being discerning or choosing carefully between options. Remember that it's okay to be picky, but watch out for riding the perpetual seesaw of indecision with Mars in Libra. We may be being discerning or picky in the work that we do. I challenge you to ask what work sets your soul ablaze. You may be familiar with the very popular question, if you were to win the lottery tomorrow, what is it that you would choose to do on a daily basis to occupy your time and mental energy? Do that. Try to incorporate that, whatever that is, into your daily life now. Create that life of your dreams. We're also called to discern what we consume and absorb both physically and mentally, and how that affects us. We're challenged to embrace simplicity and minimalism, to be more humble, and to show our love through small acts of kindness and service. Most importantly, we're challenged to balance head and heart with the oppositions between what's in Virgo and what's in Pisces. You can balance either of those: imbalanced Pisces by leaning into Virgo, imbalanced Virgo by leaning into Pisces. That's what these oppositions are all about: integration. Since Virgos, especially Virgo moons, love order and cleanliness, this is an excellent time to go through your items at home. Apply the Marie Kondo method. Ask each item if it sparks joy, if it still serves you, if you find that it carries negative energy, if it makes you think about an ex, if it makes you think about the person that gave you the item. It's okay to thank the item for serving you and to donate it to another cause, to move on with it. This is a great time to reorganize, to revamp existing schedules and routines for greater work-life balance, especially concerning our diet, nutrition, exercise, and stress management. This is a really good time to research, plan, and prepare for the future, and to iron out details on existing projects. It's also a wonderful time to show that you love through acts of service, or to pick up some volunteer hours. Now for the interesting eccentricities about this new moon, the degree points, and the aspects. This new moon exacts at 21 degrees 58 minutes of Virgo on Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 21 degrees is a Sagittarius degree associated with healing, health, and growth, with Sagittarius energy being ruled by the planet Jupiter. It's happening late on Thursday, which is Thor's, named after Thor, aka Jupiter's day. If this is happening for you on September 15th, then this is happening on a Friday or a Venus day. And either way, when we look at the aspects involved with Jupiter, it's involving both Jupiter and Venus. They're forming an exact square shortly after this new moon, which has been building behind the scenes in a long-term square for several weeks, really since June. We have a fixed star at 21 degrees, 38 minutes of Virgo, so very close to this new moon, Denebola, which is connected to criticism, mental illness, natural disasters, and catastrophes, which is where the sun and the moon are aligning under this new moon, opposite to Neptune in Pisces, retrograde 26 degrees. These fixed stars in my Mercury retrograde video, so I encourage you to go check that out for even more detailed information about Virgo. But there's also a fixed star where Mercury stations retrograde at the end of its retrograde, around 8 degrees Virgo. This fixed star, Alioth, 8 degrees 56 minutes of Virgo. This is the black horse, and it's connected to self-unaliving in women, danger in pregnancy, illness. We'll begin our exploration of the aspects by focusing first on aspects involving the moon and sun, which are in alignment, 21 degrees of Virgo, and then we'll look at the depositor of Virgo, which is Mercury, stationing retrograde under this new moon, followed by aspects to Jupiter and Venus, since this is happening on September 14th or 15th, depending on where you're tuning in. Aspects involving the Sun and Moon aligned at 21 degrees 58 minutes of Virgo. We have a grand Earth trine between the Moon and Sun aligned 21 degrees 58 minutes of Virgo, forming an almost exact trine. It'll exact on September 15th to Uranus, now retrograde, 22 degrees Taurus. This is forming a loose trine. This is where the grand part comes in, the equilateral triangle, with Pluto retrograde at 28 degrees Capricorn. Uranus delivers karma through sudden events and throws us curveballs. So look out for surprises that are out of the blue and coming in fast. The long-term transit of Pluto through the sign of Capricorn, which was from 2008 until 2024, is transforming our ambitions, careers, and how we define success on a personal level. So under this grand Earth trine, what structures are we releasing? Where can we find greater work-life balance? And where are we building our own dreams versus slaving away for somebody else's dream? Friday, September 15th, the Sun will progress from 21 degrees Virgo to 22 degrees Virgo, forming an exact trine to Uranus retrograde, 22 degrees Taurus. While Jupiter, on that same day, forms an exact square. Jupiter, now retrograde, 15 degrees Taurus, squaring Venus, now direct, 15 degrees Leo. The last time we had this exact was on the last quarter moon in Taurus, back on August 8th. From August 8th to August 10th, we had Jupiter forming this exact square to Venus. And at that time, Venus was retrograde in Leo, forming a square to Jupiter direct in Taurus. Now we have them reversed. This brought the tragic Maui fire. You may remember me saying in that video, I'll link it here, that 22 degrees is considered a death degree associated with the death of a loved one. And when there are multiple planets at the 22nd degree, there are world events that affect millions of people. Mark your calendars for September 15th and September 29th to September 30th, the upcoming full harvest moon, as both dates have multiple planets in harsh aspect at the 22nd degree. Additionally, we have the Sun and Moon aligned 21 degrees 58 minutes in Virgo, opposite Neptune retrograde, 26 degrees Pisces. With the Moon opposite Neptune, this signifies an emotional surrender, while the Sun opposite Neptune represents some type of ego surrender or release. Whatever we're letting go of, something is leaving, and we have no choice but to release it. This is happening on the Virgo-Pisces axis of opposition, the axis of health and well-being. With the Sun and Moon opposite Neptune, this can make us particularly susceptible to manipulation, illusion, disillusion, and deception. So watch out for people trying to take advantage of your generous giving nature or of the work that you do. Remember to set those boundaries to protect yourself. Also watch out for patterns of escapism, avoidance, and addiction, as people are more likely to relapse and overdose under this transit. Watch out for scams and people trying to take advantage of your generous nature. Protect yourself, especially online. Discuss the aspects to Mercury at 8 degrees Virgo. Since Mercury is stationed direct 8 degrees Virgo under this new moon, this makes Mercury even more prominent as the ruling planet of everything in Virgo, the Sun and Moon. It's also stationing direct, which adds more emphasis to the energy there. We're finally receiving details and communication in an intense and surprising way, related to unexpected truths and things we weren't quite aware of that has been lingering under the surface of consciousness. Keep in mind that Mercury will remain in its post-shadow retrograde until it reaches 21 degrees Virgo at the end of September, on September 28th. It is still in a loose opposition to Saturn under this Virgo new moon and will eventually oppose Neptune, retrograde in Pisces, Neptune very strong, ruling Pisces, into early October as Mercury proceeds into the late degrees of Virgo, directly opposite Neptune retrograde. So this clarity that we're receiving may not fully come in for another 6 to 8 weeks. We have aspects to Jupiter and or Venus, which they're aspecting each other. Jupiter square Venus. Since Jupiter was the planet to go retrograde in September, it is the star of the show and our focal point in September. Jupiter square Venus is all about overindulging and or overpromising and under-delivering. I'd love to hear about how your Venus retrograde went. If you want to comment below and let me know how these multiple squares between Uranus and Jupiter affected you, how that retrograde affected you. For me, it was mostly positive. I'm a Libra rising. So my ruling planet is Venus, and when it goes retrograde, I do panic a little on the inside. But it was honestly mostly beneficial. I had a few past people resurface, and more than people returning from the past, I had a lot of past employers that maybe didn't appreciate me before, but circumstances for them have changed and decided to reach back out to see if I would be open to coming back and being exploited by them again. Just kidding. To see if I would come back and work for them, which... No thanks. The biggest stressor I had was having 4 job offers in one day and having only a couple of days to decide which path would be and I start my new job today actually, which opportunity would allow for the best work-life balance with what I already have going on my plate, especially with this side hustle here with astrology, and what would spark joy and meaning. So for me, there was an overwhelm of options, and the theme that kept ringing true for me was that you can't do it all. You may want to, but you can't take 4 jobs. You can't commit to all of them. It's great that all 4 places that you wanted to work wanted you back, but you have to pick one. And if you have any Libra energy, you may understand how hard it is to be decisive. The antidote for Libra indecision is Aries assertion and directiveness. So with this Venus square Jupiter, watch out for overspending and overindulging. We may also see, since Venus is the planet that rules Taurus, and we have Jupiter in Taurus forming a square to Venus, with Venus moving forward and Jupiter reflecting, going backwards in retrograde, I'm a little nervous about what the fall will bring in terms of, there's a lot of talk of a global recession coming. I'm a little nervous about this transit having to do with our money, different forms of money, and then October 1st is when students will be expected to return to making payments on their college loans. So that's going to have a big effect on the economy. I don't know if we'll see it right away in October, but I think we'll see it by Scorpio season, by late October, early November. We also have Black Moon Lilith, 27 degrees, 56 minutes in Leo, opposite Saturn retrograde, 2 degrees Pisces, with a 5-degree orb. I'm mentioning this now because it's coming closer to exactitude in between this Virgo New Moon and the upcoming Harvest full moon at the end of September. When Saturn and Black Moon Lilith combine in aspect to one another, there's an increased drive for inner clarity, with many obstacles and conflicting emotions arising on the path for that clarity. Look out for things that trigger anger, things that trigger rage, and find a healthy outlet for this. I use the gym. Ultimately, this is bringing healing, allowing us to overcome deep-seated fears of rejection and criticism, and especially as Black Moon Lilith gets closer and closer to Virgo. Allow your success to be the best revenge. It's the only revenge you need. It's also worth mentioning that 27 degrees of Leo is a death degree. It's associated with sudden death by poisoning and or drowning. So be on alert this September, especially from September 13th toward the end of the month, with all of this extreme weather, flooding, potentially drowning, and the oppositions to Neptune, which bring in major escapism and avoidance, major relapse and overdose territory. That could be what we see here in the astrology as poisoning. I'll read for you the Sabian Symbols, a screen of prophecy. I did read this in my Mercury retrograde video, so if you already saw it, feel free to use the timestamps to skip around. Since the moon and sun are aligned at 21 degrees 58 minutes of Virgo, and since this book starts at the 1st degree instead of the 0th degree, we'll round up. We always round up, except when a placement or planet is exactly at a degree point, like 8 degrees exactly, without any of the minutes, without any of the change. Or when something's going retrograde, you want to look at where the planet is headed, where it's going. Virgo, 22 degrees, a royal coat of arms. Keyword, prerogative. The theme the rights of privilege. This symbol speaks to the fact that there is a reason and purpose for everything that exists. The image of a royal coat of arms symbolizes authority and certification, and it dramatizes the dignity to be found in following the traditions and customs that have been established by the elders and wise men or women of any society. This symbol also emphasizes inherited stewardship and the right to regulate and enforce the observance of those social rituals that strengthen and preserve a group's highest values and ideals. On the positive, at its highest, this symbol represents the ability to solidify group unity and help others recognize their common purpose. On the negative, abuse of authority or manipulation and the use of devious means for controlling the unsuspecting and the gullible. There's a lot of rumors going around about a return of mandates, especially mandates involving healthcare. So watch out for abuse of authority or manipulation and the use of devious means for controlling the unsuspecting and gullible. The accent is on inherited rights and privileges. Some group may assert their authority or pull rank based on their seniority. This was also the degree point where Mercury retrograde began, 21 degrees Virgo. So I think that's really interesting that Mercury is stationing direct under this new moon, also 21 degrees Virgo. And again, with Mercury retrogrades, yes, we're coming into clarity, but we may not see that from 6 to 8 weeks from that Cazimi. And that Cazimi was on September 6th, where Mercury and the Sun aligned, so Mercury was combust and had a rebirth. That's what Cazimi is, the rebirth. So as the Sun continued to travel forward, Mercury continued to travel backward into the shadow of the Sun, finishing its retrograde, and now under this new moon in Virgo, will proceed forward to catch up with the Sun again. We may not see exactly what that clarity is or these mandates until 6 to 8 weeks after September 6th. Your greatest advantage lies in observing precedent and following established tradition. Be sensitive to the needs of others to maintain their dignity. Risk. Guard against abusing privilege or violating social mores. Changing the rules or criticizing the way others have been doing things could meet with strong resistance and be resented. Watch for toe stepping. Stepping stones include heritage, tradition, family lineage, aristocracy, rulership, prerogative, privilege, license, right, authority, certification, tradition, stewardship, values, integrity, honor, and group unity. Let's also take a look at 8 degrees Virgo. First dancing instruction. 8 degrees Virgo is where Mercury retrograde stations direct. We did read this in the Mercury retrograde video, but we're going to review it again because it'll probably be a lot more clear now than when I posted that video at the end of August. First dancing instruction. Keyword assistance. Theme, learning how to do it. This symbol speaks to self-perfection and learning through instruction. It also speaks to the importance of being able to function in a broad variety of social situations. The image of a first dancing instruction alludes to coordination, poise, gracefulness, and flexibility as the skills necessary for successfully handling any situation when the going gets rough. It also emphasizes the importance of encouragement. The way to begin is to begin, and any beginning requires a willingness to risk failure and try again if the first attempt doesn't succeed. The key to mastery is practice, feedback, adjustment, and determination, or a refusal to give up. On the positive, at its highest, this symbol represents cooperation, competence, and an extraordinary talent for finessing the desired outcome in every difficult situation. On the negative, codependency and a willingness to accept a less than desired status quo rather than risk going it alone. Today, the accent is on self-perfection and learning through trial and error. Encouragement is the key to achievement. Opportunity. Your greatest advantage lies in finding the right teacher and putting the time and effort into reaching your goal. Be willing to accept constructive criticism. Admit your mistakes and correct them. Risk. Guard against giving up too soon or telling yourself that less than your best is okay. Be careful not to step on someone's toes by trying to lead when you should be following. Stepping stones: self-perfection, refinement of skills, education, mentorship, learning, practice, rhythm, maneuvering, cooperation, assistance, demonstration, performance, coordination, flexibility, social grace, and poise. To read Taurus 22 degrees, where Uranus is retrograding. Taurus 22 degrees, white dove over troubled waters. Keyword: guidance. Theme: a higher call. This symbol speaks to the fact that every individual comes into the world with a spiritual mission or purpose that guides him, whether or not it is recognized. The image of a white dove over troubled water symbolizes divine protection, the triumph of spirit over matter, peace of mind, and the ability to transcend emotional turmoil and psychological stress. Implicit in this symbol is the freedom and strength that can be gained from listening to the inner voice for guidance and direction. The suggestion here is that the individual who knows his purpose and sets out to fulfill it will succeed. On a practical level, this symbol can represent peace or an end to war, dissension, enmity, or conflict. On the positive, at its highest, this symbol represents a strong sense of personal destiny and the ability to rise above superficial difficulties and keep focused on a goal until it's achieved. On the negative, it can represent confusion and a lack of direction, or absent-mindedness and daydreaming. The accent is on rising above difficulties and emotional stress. The opportunity, your greatest advantage, lies in minding your own business, working on your own goals, and refusing to get involved in the problems of others. Risk: guard against not paying attention or letting your mind wander. You may miss an important message. Stepping stones include guidance, direction, message, advice, help, protection, mission, transcendence, and peace. We'll also read Taurus 15 degrees, where Jupiter is retrograding. A man muffled up with a rakish silk hat. Keyword: sophistication. The theme is nonchalance. This symbol speaks to the ability to maintain a plume or poise even in the most trying situations. The image of a man muffled up with a rakish silk hat portrays a dramatic effort to radiate dignity and personal distinction. The implication here is of a strong sense of self and a refusal to settle for being just another face in the crowd. This degree also suggests a sophisticated ability to use whatever resources lie at hand to achieve a goal or overcome obstacles. Positive, at its highest, the symbol represents self-composure and resourcefulness in meeting the challenges of everyday life. On the negative, it can represent arrogance or a cavalier refusal to take life seriously, especially with this being square to Venus in Leo. Major themes here. Today, the accent is on role play and impressions or the appearance of things. The recommendation is to put your best foot forward. Individuals and groups are not likely to let others dictate what is or is not appropriate. Your greatest advantage lies in acting as if. Create yourself anew by visualizing yourself as you would like to be, and dramatize that self to the world. Be the part. Be the role you wish to have. Play the part now. Express gratitude for it as if it's already yours. That's the key to manifesting. Maintain your dignity no matter what difficulties you face. And we saw that also with 22 degrees Taurus. So there seems to be stressful times coming, adversity coming. So remembering to be who you are and to not waver under. We'll always have tests. Uranus is always going to be throwing us curveballs, no matter how much Aquarius energy you have. The more energy you have, the more you know that this is true. It's important to maintain your dignity, no matter what difficulties you face. Risk. Guard against becoming overconfident or cocky. Avoid making promises you can't keep or creating expectations that you can't live up to. Over-promising, under-delivering. Stepping stones: sophistication, finesse, poise, impression, a plume, polish, refinement, resourcefulness, and self-sufficiency. Sabian symbol read for today is Pisces 26 degrees, where Neptune is retrograding. A new moon that divides its influences. Keyword: finesse. Theme: the stirring from within. The symbol speaks to initiative, or the stirring from within that leads to outreach and new beginnings. The image of a new moon that divides its influences refers to the different impact that the same event can have on various individuals, depending on the reality that each is a part of. The earliest description of this image contrasted the romantic significance of the new moon for lovers with the intimation of eternity that the philosopher perceives. The emphasis in this degree is on experimentalism and on man's instinctive need to move outside himself and become an active participant in life, even if he is uncertain about how to do this. But the greater suggestion here is that an individual should avoid making permanent commitments until he clearly knows what he wants and needs. Positive, at its highest, this symbol represents the ability to take full advantage of the opportunities that arise in any challenging situation and capitalize on every newly discovered aptitude and talent in self. On the negative, it represents indecisiveness, ambivalence, and self-defeating fence straddling, riding that seesaw of indecision. Today, the accent is on uncertainty. You may be unsure about how to begin some new project or wavering back and forth on a decision, or maybe multiple job offers that you have to make. Your greatest advantage lies in choosing one of your options and going with it on a trial basis. That's very fitting. Risk. Guard against vacillating until it's too late and you lose your opportunity to have a say in the matter. Stepping stones: uncertainty, tentativeness, irresolution, qualm, apprehensive, insecurity, reluctance, ambiguity, ambivalence, doubt, hesitation, questioning, reservation, timidity, vacillation, indecision, misgivings, or mistrust.